coming to the green flag for round number 16 of the 2023 FBRL Hardee's National Series season. Joseph Sirigley on pole position alongside second in points Jeff James, a pair of JSR cars behind. And we are underway here at Wisconsin. Drag racing into turn number 1. Sirigley clears the 4 of Jeff James. And Dylan Schwamberg from the outside row moves to the bottom lane to immediately make a pass on Bobby Jones. And Richard Johnson with a good corner. He's trying to make a run at Sirigley here on lap number 1 as he moves into second place ahead of Jeff James. It's no surprise to see Sirigley leading, and now he's got the car he owns sitting behind him in second as Richard Johnson throws it into the corner trying to make ground on the 77. Oh, contact! Hernandez has been punted! He's been sent up into the banking. Small incident there in lap number 2. As, trouble! Verlin Eyes hits the wall. Stinson got into the back of him, and the 72 of Adam Verlin Eyes has gone up in smoke. Stinson, the 72, made contact, and now we have, I believe, our first casualty of the day. Let's see what happens to Adam Verlin Eyes here. Just looks like Stinson just got a better run up the corner, then back out and just clipped the 72 hard into the pit exit wall. Tough break for Adam as his climb up towards the top 30 North Points is going to take a bit of a tumble here. So let's see what happens with Luis Hernandez here. Ooh, Shear. Kev Shear threw it hard into the corner, and the 27 of Peter Onjak was moving down to make a pass on the 3, and Hernandez was just ultimately a victim. He keeps it going, and he's going to pass the 72, but not the start that Hernandez wanted after this 3 car has missed the last several races. Ooh, Corey Williams with a push. He gets into the quarter panel of James Ellison and shoves him forward as Mick Britting sends it 3 wide in the middle, trying to take advantage of the sloppy racing between those two. Corey goes past, Britting takes advantage and moves past the 93 as well. Nick Britting, who looked like he was poised to make some big ground on Corey Williams at Darlington a few weeks ago. But unfortunately for him, had a mechanical problem, so he's now trying to play catch-up here as he is all over the back of this 14, trying to get him a little bit loose, but can't do it. As now Ellison looks on the inside, looking for a move on the 9, and he gets underneath the 9. Britting has to take evasive actions to let the 93 next to him. And Ellison now trying to clear the 9. Cameron Lassard now entering the picture here in this battle for a top 20 spot. There's going to be a lot of guys going to be leaning on each other here. And Ellison now trying to clear the 9. Lassard, will he set up a move here? He does. He throws it beneath the 9. And now Lassard trying to take advantage of Britting all of a sudden having some issues. Oh, trouble! Lockrow in the wall! Sanders hooked him. And Lockrow goes way up the track, and he's going to have significant left side damage there. But he keeps it moving along, but that's going to cost him and Sanders several spots. Battle for eighth between Ryan Butcher and Ace Wild here. As the 47 tries to get to the quarter panel of Ryan Butcher. Down to the inside line here. Ace throws it down the bottom lane. Behind him, Griffin Lapo McDermott now getting himself in the picture here in this battle. Griffin had just passed Vargas to get inside the top 10. And that 62 is looking pretty good right now as he gets next to Butcher here, looking for the spot. This could be for 9th. Griffin tries to pull ahead of the 8 of Butcher. Butcher not exactly gonna make it too easy for him here as he dives it into the corner, trying to get him to make a mistake, but doesn't do it. Back up here, Richard Johnson, he is starting to lose track of Joseph Srigley. He was matching his times for a little while, but he seems to be starting to lose some ground. Meanwhile, Dylan Schwalberg in the Fisher Motorsports 22. This team was very disappointed with their performance at Darlington a few weeks ago. But they seem to have at least gotten some of their issues sorted out because Schwalberg's looking a lot more quicker today, similar to how he did at Iowa a couple of months ago. Battle for 16th here. Let's get heating up as Ellison. Ooh, Lassar goes to the right. Ellison made a move to block, and Ellison comes across 84 and in the wall. Big hit for James Ellison. He got crunched, and Lassard keeps the car moving. But big contact entering the final corner, and the 93 is just completely destroyed. A big hit for Ellison, and just really hard racing between him and Lassard. Lassard got onto his quarter panel, they got hooked together, and Ellison just slams into the safer barrier. But a nasty hit for the 93 car, and that's going to be the end of his day. GLM has gone past Ace Wild for a position here, so this 62 is on the move right now. As Griffin, ooh, he gets into the side of Grattan and hooks him into the wall. Grattan with heavy contact on the inside wall as the 62 maybe got a little bit too aggressive there. There's some ifs, ands, buts about it. Grattan just got hooked, and here comes Jeff James now. This is the battle for 3rd. Schwalberg was all over the 10, but now all of a sudden Jeff James has taken the point. Jeff James, he's second in points, and he's trying to make up ground, and Schwalberg gets into the back of him, and they're hard in the wall. Jeff James, second in points, up on the tire barrier, and with 2 tires off the ground, and him and Schwalberg have ended up in the wall. And that's going to knock them both out of the race. A massive moment here. Jeff James, second in points, has just wrecked and wrecked hard. And Schwalberg and James, they just met at a bad point in the corner. Jeff was coming up to arc it. Schwalberg was coming down to cut down. And that sends them both hard into the outside wall. And third and fourth, excuse me, all of a sudden are gone. An unbelievable accident has occurred and has completely changed our point situation here. And man, a note there, Fisher Motorsports, that 22 car just feels so cursed right now. Another problem for them. It'll be an interesting debate on whether fault will be put on the other, or whether that was just an unfortunate racing incident. But for the time being, the one taking advantage of this is Christian Vargas, who sits third in points, 1 point behind Jeff James. As it stands now, Vargas will retake second in points if he finishes where he finishes right now. And Vargas must have been told that, because he is now all over the back of Ryan Butcher trying to take the spot here. Meanwhile, behind Nick Breeding, he's actually starting to make up places here. He's been passing some cars, and he's actually one of the quickest cars on track right now. And the points leader, Corey Williams, has basically been following him. Breeding past Corey, and then Breeding past Beal and Rodriguez. So right now, Breeding is just paving the way, trying to move forward here, because he knows there's an opportunity here to make up some of the points he lost at Darlington. For second, here comes Bobby Jones underneath Richard Johnson for the spot. And Jones makes the pass. There's the 77. He's just been kind of just scooting away ever since this race has delved into some chaos here. Jones, a very good road course racer in his own right, now up to second place. Meanwhile, behind, the battle for fourth, Griffin, Lapo McDermott, and Kyle Collins. You got some of Hardee's National Series best road racers right here battling for fourth. And Griffin is all over the back of this 41. Despite the incident with the 16, I don't think the pace from the 62 has disappeared. Right now, that 77 is 4 seconds up the road, and that is going to be quite difficult to make up here. Here we go, pit stops, first stops of the day. Kyle Collins, Richard Johnson, and Ace Wild will begin the pit cycle for the first of 2 pit stops needed today. So Collins, Richard, and Ace looking to try and undercut the field here. And fortunately, these pillars are a cameraman's nightmare. The leader comes to pit road. Joseph Strigley in the 77 to pit road. Bobby Jones, Griffin, Lapo McDermott follow behind. Breeding with a late dive into pit road. Noah Hart's going to elect to stay out in the 18 car. So it looks like Noah Hart wants to have the freshest tires in the field here, as he moves up, and he will take the lead, at least for a lap, here at Wisconsin. Strigley comes out of his box here. Remember, a couple of guys undercut, so we'll see the difference here between him and the others. As Strigley, he has a problem exiting pit road. He didn't see the pace car and he hit it, and he has to make evasive maneuvers, and he has to slow down, and now he's lost spots. Joseph Strigley with a problem, as he is going to lose the lead on the pit cycle, and he's in trouble. 3 wide for the Spartan Motorsports driver, and all of a sudden the lead has changed. Kyle Collins undercut, and he's now taken the lead. And he's got a gap. The 41 team must have put an absolute barn burner of a pit stop together. Plus the undercut has put them out in front. With a gap, mind you. That is a good gap. It almost looks like him and Strigley basically swapped places. But the running order has taken a massive shakeup here. Kyle Collins has assumed the lead, and we all know what this 41 is capable of in clean air. Richard Johnson moves back up to second place. Christian Vargas now up to third. A heck of a stop from the 51 team has put them in third. Griffin, Latham, McDermott, fourth place. Eric Rodriguez, they must have had a great stop too, and undercutted maybe as well, because now he's in fifth place. But he's under attack from Ace Wild in the 47. But Bobby Jones, he was second at the start of the pit cycle. He's fallen to seventh. Srigley from the lead falls from first to eighth. Sebastian Kukulon is now up to ninth. And meanwhile, Ryan Butcher rounds out the top 10. But what a shakeup this has become. Nick Breeding, who was in the top 10, he has fallen to 18th. And I think Rodriguez Racing, their pit crew has kind of struggled over the year. There hasn't been a complete detriment to the team. But they have lost spots here, and Breeding is now in a hole, and he's losing points to Corey Williams yet again. One of the big pieces of news that came out this week was Rodriguez Racing announced that they would be pulling out of the series at the end of this year. So we will not see Rodriguez Racing on a full-time basis in 2024. So Breeding, who is trying to score one last championship for this team, his goal and journey to achieve that has taken quite a hit here. Still time, but quite a long ways to go. Battle for fifth is heating up here with Rodriguez and Wild here going at it for the spots. It seems the 47 pit crew actually put together a solid stop for him, considering they actually didn't lose any time. But this battle with him and Eric is really good right now. And Eric Rodriguez, who he's actually been pretty relatively quick this weekend. And this 63 team has, we got a battle for third up ahead here is Griffin underneath the 51 of Vargas here for the spot. Griffin trying to make a pass on the outside. Vargas tries to cut him off, but doesn't let him. And behind them, Rodriguez and Wild split the slow 84. Lessard is off the pace, thanks to the damage he sustained earlier, and plus he's on old tires. But this battle continues here. Eric Rodriguez kind of has had a bit of a summer slump. The 63 team had a really good start to the year, but over the past couple of months, it's been difficult for this team. They haven't really performed as well as Vargas has. But today they're looking really nice at the moment. And he's doing everything he can to hold off a much faster Ace Wild here. And here comes the 47 down the inside. Ace with a big dive to the bottom. And Ace will take the spot here finally. After a long battle. Bobby Jones now trying to take advantage here and follow his Dodge mate down the inside. But Jones can't quite make the pass. We're just about halfway through this thing. And we got some interesting stories here. Joshua Michaels in the 75. He is up to 12th in the 75 car. Now, we saw this 75 have a really solid run at Darlington. It was probably one of their best runs on pace throughout the entire year. But Michaels, who is, he's had some great road course performances before. He's done relatively well. And he's doing a good job here. He's running ahead of Gatlin Downey. And Downey's, you know, he's one of our best road racers in this series. And he's doing a really good job at the moment. So Michaels, who sits 30th in owner's points at the moment, knows that they need to beat this 87 car. You can see the 87 of Tim Fiegel back there. He's quite a ways behind. So the 87 team knows that they really need to catch up to 75. They've taken some chunks out of that gap over the past couple of races, but nothing significant. Beal and Sanders battle here. Brandon Beal in the top 5 in points. Trying to do what he can to make up any sort of gap on Corey Williams in terms of points. And speaking of Corey, he's currently sitting in the 10th place position here, right ahead of Sebastian Kukulon. Joseph Srigley in the 77. It looked like this race was kind of in the bag for him, but unfortunately, a mishap on pit road has put the 77 in a hole, and he's trying to make up the time, but this car just does not seem to be performing as well as it did, as Srigley, he bumps the 63 up the track there, gets to his quarter panel, and he's going to hit the back of the 63 and spin him around barely, and Srigley now in trouble, with Rodriguez now losing spots. Oh, that was not pretty. And Rodriguez, who was running inside the top 10, he's now in trouble. He's surrounded by all sides. And he smoked up those tires. He didn't completely go around. The 77 did fix him a little bit, but at the same time, that has got to be so frustrating for Eric. That's going to knock him outside the top 10, out of the top 15 as well. And Joseph, I mean, I think that was a very desperate move, and maybe a move out of frustration. And Kukulon, he was probably the biggest benefactor in that. He just got past several cars in that incident, and Corey Williams also got through as well. So Corey in the 14. He now moves up to 8th. Here's the incident again here. You can see 77, he is just all over the 63, and 77 just had enough. And look at the checkup here, as several cars, Kukulon and Corey Williams, had to make evasive maneuvers. And Ryan Butcher lost several spots to that as well, so Butcher, he's going to fall outside the top 10. And this is where Kukulon took the spot from Corey Williams as Corey went off the racing line there. And Kukulon took advantage of that. Well, the incident has not slowed down the pace of the 77 as Srigley makes a dive, gets slight contact with the 14. Man, the 77 is desperate. It's always slow. The 77's got a problem. Srigley is slow off the track. And whoa, watch out. Breeding slams into the back of him. And Noah Hart as well. You have got to be kidding me. Nick Breeding and Hart have crashed both the Rodriguez cars with heavy damage, and the 77 is stranded. They're pulling him off the track. Another shocking development here, as let's watch this again. Ooh, Srigley, oh, he doesn't make contact with a 14 at all, so that didn't result, that wasn't a big deal. But the 77 just breaks. I wonder if this may have been caused by the damage that he might have sustained making contact with the 63. Maybe something knocked the 70, something got knocked loose in the 77, and the car finally broke a couple of laps later. But Joseph Srigley, the favorite to win today, out of today's race here at Wisconsin. And Nick Breeding, my goodness, this man cannot catch a break today. Or any break at all over these past couple of races. He already took a massive hit in the title at Darlington, and this is going to be yet another stab in his championship hopes. Battle for third here. Griffin Lapo McDermott setting up a move on Christian Vargas. This is for a podium spot here as Vargas trying to hold off the 62 here. GLM underneath the inside of the 51 makes a nice clean pass on Vargas, and considering what happened with Grattan, I think Griffin's going to be a little bit more careful here trying to pass cars. But Vargas now trying to come back on the inside. He's all over the back of him. Vargas all over the rear of the 62. You have to feel like Vargas may be feeling a little bit desperate here. 2 of the top 5 in points have ran into problems today. Nick Breeding hitting the back of the 77. Jeff James DNFing from a wreck with the 22. So Vargas, who runs a couple positions ahead of the 14 of Corey Williams here. Our point system is first for 6. You get 60 points for first, 50 for second, and then it's 40 on down from third to last. So Vargas knows that if he can find a way to get to second or perhaps somehow win this thing, he could get a massive chunk, take a massive chunk off the 14 of Corey Williams, who currently sits in 8th place. And he's basically has missed every instance so far. So this 14 team is just, you gotta, on one hand, it's a little bit of some luck, but Corey's just, you know, he's a very experienced driver. He has the most starts in Hardee's National Series history. He's used to navigating incidents, so he's just keeping his nose clean at the moment and running behind Sebastian Kukulon, who is having an amazing day running up here in 7th place. The best run that Kevshire Racing Technologies has had so far this year, and Kukulon has given them one heck of a day if they can hold on to it. Kyle Collins has stretched to a 7.6 second lead in this 41 car. And he's looking really good right now. The 41 with clean air is a beast. We know what Collins can do when he leads a race. He is just incredible, especially when it comes to the road courses here. And right now he's in prime position to basically take it home. Kyle Collins has not exactly had the best season so far after a strong start. And Vargas, who has gone past the 62 again, so Vargas must have gone through the 62 somehow there. So this battle for third is really going at it here, and I think Vargas is just, he is very dead set on making sure he maximizes his points today. Kyle Collins comes to pit road for his final stop of the day. An 8-second lead for the 41 car, and he is going to ensure that no one undercuts him like they did to the 77. So Collins with a smart decision here. Looks like the 62 has elected to stay out an extra lap here, so he wants to have perhaps the freshest tires in the top 10 here. Him and Bobby Jones elect to stay out, so that must have meant Richard Johnson and Vargas have pit with him. Here's Kyle Collins finishing up his stop, and he's having a problem getting out of his stall. The 41 is not firing off. He just put lefts and right sides on, and Collins with a slow stop in the 41. Him and Vargas pitted together, but a sloppy pit sequence for the 41 team. Where is Vargas behind? Because this may have changed some things here. There's Vargas behind. The gap has come down, not by a lot, but it has come down. Kyle Collins is going to have to thank his lucky stars that he had the gap he had, because that gap has fallen to, I believe, 2 to 3 seconds here between him and Vargas. And Kyle Collins maybe not out of the woods just yet. We may have something here between these two if Vargas can pick up the pace. But Collins pulled away from basically everyone, so Vargas is going to have to find something in this car to try and run this 41 down. There's the rest of the field finishing up their pit sequence here. Collins retakes the lead in the 41 car. Or Dylan Poteet has elected to stay out an extra lap, so Collins has not officially taken the lead yet, but let's be real here. Griffin Lapo McDermott comes out in third, so he's lost time to Christian Vargas by staying out an extra lap here. But he's going to have 1 lap fresher tires. But the question is can he get any use out of them? Oh, we got a problem for James Silverfox in the 40 in the Texan Motorsports car. He's got a problem and he's off the pace. And Lockrow trying not to wreck him but has nowhere to go as William Brock and Noah Hardee slam into the back of him. Big accident there. It's another car with a mechanical problem. Has caused some chaos here, and Brock had I'm not sure he even saw that coming. Noah Hardee with even more damage, so that's the second time he's ran into the back of a car with a broken part or some kind of mechanical failure. William Brock had to take a long pit stop here to get the 81 car repaired. And he now sits down in 33rd. We haven't really talked about Brock today. He's been kind of keeping it quiet here. This is one of his limited Hardee's National Series starts this year. He's had a great year in the Truck Series, but for Sands Performance Autosport, I don't think they particularly care too much about how Brock's season's going because so Brock sits in 33rd, but here's the problem. Up the road, the 81 in Norris points is around 13 ahead of the 75, if I remember correctly. So the question is, where is Joshua Michaels? Joshua Michaels, he is in 14th. So as it stands, the 75 is going to most likely overtake the 81 in owner's points. And meanwhile, the driver 31st in owner's points, Tim Fiegel, is right behind the 75 in 15th. So, based on the math of what we're looking at here, if things finish how they are, the 75 will move to 29th in owner's points, while the 81 could potentially fall out while the 87 goes in, depending on if Fiegel can make up some positions here. So while the championship fight is of importance, the top 30 Norris points battle is almost just as vital, and it is really close right now. That incident with Brock was horrible for that team, and now they've got to try and make up for it here. "15 laps to go here at Wisconsin, and Vargas, he's matching the times of Collins, but not gaining ground. And you have to feel like Collins maybe feels like he doesn't necessarily have to push the car too hard, considering how quick he was on that last run. Vargas in second place here, looking for a big points day here. Finishing second would give him 50 points and would allow him to make up time. Will make up points on Corey Williams here. It won't be a massive chunk, but it will be a chunk nonetheless. Griffin Lapo McDermott running in third place. This is right now the best ever run for a single Z racing car. Griffin finished 4th back at Dubai very early in the year, and he's looking to improve upon that and what would be single Z Racing's best ever finish in the Hardee's National Series if Griffin can hold the spot he's in right now. Richard Johnson down to 4th place. He's ran in the top 5 for basically all day today, which is surprising because Richard Johnson, he's not exactly the best road course racer, but he's done a really good job here at Wisconsin. Ace Wild has stayed in the 5th through 7th area all day today. And he's doing a really good job here in the 47. The 47 pit crew, they seem to have done a solid job not making mistakes. Bobby Jones, this is a weird one because Jones at one point was second, but the 11 team just seems to be really struggling here on these pit stops because they've fallen to 12 seconds behind the leader, when at one point Jones was in front of Collins. It was a bit surprising to see Richard Johnson be so high up on a road course. It's also the same for Ryan Butcher in the 8. He's not exactly been super stellar on these road courses as well, but he's done a great job here, and he's currently battling Sebastian Kukulon for the spot. And how about Sebastian Kukulon, man? What a run the 69 team has put together here. They've had a nice day, and Kukulon is hungry, and he's trying to get a spot here for this from this 8 team. And what could be this team's first ever top 10. Corey Williams, your points leader. He's avoided some trouble today, and he currently sits in 9th, just keeping his nose clean. And Gallon Downey in the top 10. I don't think this was the weekend that this team was hoping for, especially after having such a dominating performance at Autumn Hill. This 12 team has been great on road courses, but today has just not exactly been their day. We haven't really talked about Kev Shear ever since that little incident with Anjak and Hernandez, but Shear has climbed his way all the way up to 12th from around 30th. So a good drive to the field for the Zero team. Shear's been trying to put things together a bit better here. He had a great run at Kansas. Probably could have won that had a caution not come out to end the race. But ever since that second place at Kansas, the Zero team has kind of not exactly been getting a lot of great finishes. And here comes Brandon Beal up the inside now. Beal is now trying to get into the top 10 here if possible. And Beal, whose incredible consistency has put him 4th in the championship points here. He's now looking to continue that consistency, and he might pass Jeff James, maybe. But he's going to have to score some more points here. And now Joshua Michaels and Tim Fiegel, the honors points battle here, 30th and 31st, going at it here. It's a small point difference between these two. Michaels can afford to let Fiegel beat him. It won't be enough for things to swing, but Michaels, who is trying to get one of the team's best finishes of the year, he's going to fight this A7 probably as hard as he can. It has been a really difficult weekend for Turner Performance Racing this weekend. Lane Sanders in the 97, he's been trying to make up positions, but this 97 has really struggled, which is surprising because Sanders is a decent road course racer. He's had some of his best finishes on the road courses this year, but this past few months have been a struggle. Same for RJ Bishop here. Bishop started deep in the field, almost dead last, and he's gotten up to 20th, but this has just been a really tough day for TPR. It just feels like Turner's team has just gone slower as the year has gone on, and they've just been so inconsistent. You have to wonder what their plans for next year are going to be here, because this year has been kind of a bit of a step down from last year when they had Diego Yepes in title contention. Less than 10 to go. Daniel Voiles in the 65. He's on pace for his best career finish in the Hardee's National Series. Sitting right behind the 57 of Ricky Freeman Jr., who has put this 57 car in 16th. So a really impressive run for Freeman Jr. considering the car he's driving. And he's failed to qualify this car in, I believe, once or twice. So Freeman doing a really solid job today. Just keeping this 57 clean and competing with some pretty solid cars. This is the battle for 25th right now, and it is a big battle here. Doug Lockrow, who has been involved in 2 incidents today. First, he got put on the wall by Lane Sanders, and then, unfortunately, got stuck behind James Surfox and got rammed into the back of from cars failing to avoid him. So right now, today's just been a day of survival for Lockrow as he currently sits in 26th here, trying to hold off Ryan Reed and the similarly damaged Luis Hernandez. Reed up the inside. Think he's going to have a bit better straightaway speed here because of aerodynamics. So Reed comes up the inside. McKinney now all over the back of the 3 of Hernandez here. We got some great battles all throughout the field here today. And this is all just for basically 26th. Every point matters to these guys. And definitely so for Kyle Collins, who has pulled out to a 3.3 second lead. And here's the battle for second. Griffin Lapo McDermott behind the 51 of Vargas. So the 62 has caught the 51 very quickly, by the way. The gap to the lead was 5 seconds a couple laps ago. It's down to 3.5, so this 62, by staying out an extra lap, has found some pace here. Griffin, slight contact with the 51. Here's Kukulon and Butcher now battling here. As Kukulon tries to fit in, Butcher may have come across, and no! We got an incident here! Butcher and Kukulon are in the wall! They're up on the banking! And that's going to cost them several spots! 7th and 8th on the racetrack are off the track, and there goes Kukulon! Oh, man! With 5 laps to go, Kukulon, who was on track for a top 10, he has fallen out of it. Butcher was on track for one of his best road course finishes in the Hardee's National Series ever. And he's ended up in the wall. We'll have to look and see what happens here. And the big benefactor was Corey Williams, the 14. He's taken 2 positions because of that incident here. And there's Nick Breeding. Breeding pitted, by the way, so he's got fresh tires. And I don't think he's, oh boy, I think he's frustrated with the 14. We'll have to look at this, but we have this developing. Breeding is all over the back of the 14. I think Corey's just trying to let him go, but what is Nick doing here? Nick all over the back of Corey. Is he trying to force the 14 into a mistake or something? Because Downey's there. So Downey, he's right behind these guys, and Breeding, what is this? And, oh boy, oh, Breeding into the side of the 14, almost walls him, and tries to, he makes contact with his quarter panel, and now more contact. Oh, Breeding, he is trying to force this 14 into a mistake, trying to get him wrecked, basically, and here comes Downey now trying to take advantage here. Here's what happens to Kukulon Butcher. Kukulon gets a massive run on Butcher, but look what happens here. Kukulon cuts down. Butcher tries to throw a block, almost shoves him to the grass. Kukulon, I don't think, appreciated that. And him and Butcher got together as Kukulon, I think, may have dove into the corner a little bit too hard. I think Kukulon was trying to go to the outside, but Butcher just pinched him as well. And very similar incident that we saw earlier with Ellison and Lassard, but with arguably bigger ramifications. A lot of people have said that this is Corey Williams' championship to lose, and today has just been, I can't believe this. This 14 team has just been so lucky today. They've been in close proximity to several incidents, and they've been the one to benefit from all of them. Corey has almost not passed anyone today. He just keeps making up positions because everyone wrecks around him. And it's such a polar opposite from last season. Corey Williams last year, this 14 team, they just got in their own way so many times. And it just feels like this year, just nothing is just stopping them. Here's the battle for second between Griffin, Lapo, McDermott. This is a really important fight for Vargas here. This is 50 points. A 10-point difference between second and third. Vargas does not want to let Griffin go, and we saw Griffin catch the 51, but ever since Griffin caught him, he's just been kind of not been forcing the issue here, and I mean, I don't blame him. if you're Griffin Lapo McDermott, this is the best finish of your career. And Vargas, he knows Vargas will fight to the death for these points. So I think Griffin realizes that trying to pass him here may not be worth the effort here. But coming to the white flag, Kyle Collins, who has once again pulled out to a gap. He is all by himself. And this is the battle for second here. Griffin kind of backing off the 51, and ooh, he slides wide off the racing line. That should do it. Griffin Lapo McDermott, I don't think he's going to get second, although I don't think he had any interest in it, to be honest. You got to give props for GLM, though. He understands the situation. He does not want to take away points from Vargas and force the issue. And Kyle Collins, through the final couple of corners, it hasn't exactly been the year that Collins was hoping for. Led the points at the start of the year. Has been great in the road courses. And coming through the final corner, finally things will go his way. And Kyle Collins will take the win here in Wisconsin for another Hardee's National Series victory. And Christian Vargas across the line with a very crucial second place finish. And Griffin Lapo McDermott, you have to feel kinda let him off the hook. But Griffin comes with third, his best ever Hardee's National Series finish and the best finish for Single Z Racing in their history. Richard Johnson comes across the line for fourth for a nice good day. Ace Wild finishes fifth, another good finish for him. Bobby Jones sixth. Galen Downey, he finished seventh there, so I think he actually got past Corey Williams here for seventh on the last lap. Kyle Collins recovers to a ninth. So a nice bit of driving from Kev Shear to get a top 10 finish. And Brandon Beal comes away with another top 10. So Beal, his consistency continues. Before we go to results and points, this is what happened. Galen Downey, look at this dive by Downey. He threw it in there and got underneath the 14. And he made the pass at the line. So Downey took a point off of 14 at the last second. And Vargas is no doubt going to send him a thank you card for that one. Back in the honors points battle here, Tim Fiegel has actually managed to get past the 75. So Fiegel does finish ahead of Joshua Michaels and takes off 1 point. But the question's going to be, will the 81 potentially fall out of the top 30? And has Fiegel gotten his way back in?